What's good, you guys? You know who it is, man. It's your boy, Mr. Relentless Lex, and I'm back like I never left this month. Yes, sir. All right, so you guys, I'm still a little under the weather, but I feel a whole lot more better. A whole lot more better. It's getting to the end, but thank you guys for wishing me well and me getting better. Thank you so much. But today, man, we got Amerie's career tragically end and she being blackballed. Beyonce's curse and Feud and what they never told us about Miss Marie's career and the tragic end. Spicy.
Let's talk about your career. Everybody always says Amerie should have been a superstar because she's pretty, she dance, she can sing. What happened?
What
do you think happened?
It is? It's timing. Like everything is timing. Like I'm a big believer in timing.
Before her name was attached to Kourtney Kardashian for being her lookalike, Amerie was known for her short-lived music career in the mid-2000s. She rose to fame with her 2005 single One Thing. It earned her multiple prestigious award nominations like the Grammy Award for Best Female R&B Vocal Performance in 2006. But after a few years, her career started to dwindle, and word on the street is that she was blackballed and intentionally sabotaged by Beyoncé. So what exactly happened to Amerie's once promising career? Well, let's start from the very beginning. Amerie, born in Fitchburg, Massachusetts, boasts a unique and diverse heritage as the offspring of a Korean mother named Mi Sook and an African-American father, Charles Rogers. The Rogers family embarked on an international journey shortly after Amerie's birth, relocating to South Korea, where she spent the first 3 years of her life. Charles Rogers, a chief warrant officer in the U.S. military, led the family through various assignments, including stints in Alaska, Texas, Virginia, and Germany. Amerie's family expanded with the addition of her younger sister, Angela Rogers, who has now transitioned into the role of Amerie's lawyer. Growing up in a conservative, protective, and traditionally Christian household, Amerie and her sister were subject to strict rules, including restrictions on leaving the house or using the phone on school days. Despite the controlled environment, Amerie pursued higher education at Georgetown University, choosing literature as her field of study. Interestingly, she joined Navy ROTC not due to parental pressure, but as a pragmatic means to afford her education. However, she decided to discontinue her ROTC commitment after her sophomore year, ultimately earning a BA in English with a minor in fine arts design. A pivotal moment in Amerie's life occurred during her Georgetown University years when she befriended a Washington, D.C. club promoter. This connection proved instrumental as it led her to producer Rich Harrison. The circumstances of their first meeting were unconventional, taking place at a McDonald's parking lot. Here, Rich played his tracks, and Amerie showcased her vocal prowess by singing along. The immediate connection they felt marked the beginning of a powerful collaboration. Rich Harrison, having recently worked on Mary J. Blige's albums, embarked on recording and developing demos with Amerie. This collaboration resulted in Amerie securing her first record deal with Columbia Records. In a 2002 interview with Hip Online, Amerie expressed the exceptional chemistry she shared with Harrison, stating, "For some reason, we had a very special chemistry. When we would work together, something great would happen." Amerie's entry into the music scene involved recording the chorus for Nas's 2001 single Rule and collaborating with Detroit rapper Royce da 5'9". Her debut single, Why Don't We Fall in Love, dropped in 2002, reaching the top 10 on the Hot R&B/hip-hop songs and Hot Dance Club play charts. The debut album, All I Have, released in the same year, garnered positive reviews, with its entire production and co-writing credited to Rich Harrison. In the subsequent years, from 2004 to 2005, Amerie's career gained momentum with the release of her second album, Touch. The lead single, One Thing, stood out as a major hit, sampling the Meters' funk recording. It reached number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100, and the album itself peaked at number 5 on the Billboard 200, achieving gold certification. Amerie continued her successful streak with the 2007 release of her third album, Because I Love It. Influenced by 80s music, the album featured the UK top 10 hit, Take Control. However, Amerie faced challenges with the US release and promotion, expressing dissatisfaction with Columbia Records. In 2008, Amerie signed with Island Def Jam Music Group, leading to her fourth album, In Love and War, which encountered distribution issues. In 2010, Amerie altered the spelling of her stage name to Amerie, announcing her 5th studio album, Cymatica Vol. 1, exploring themes of freedom, androgyny, and the New World Order. However, the album faced delays. The subsequent years saw Amerie involved in various projects, including Because I Love It Vol. 2 in 2013, and a collaboration with producer Rich Harrison on the single Out Loud in 2015. In 2018, she independently released 2 albums, 4 a.m. Mulholland and After 4 a.m. Throughout her career, Amerie has maintained an active role in the creative process of her music, earning credits for writing, production, and instrumentation. Recognized as a soprano, her journey from her early recording days to her independent releases showcases her dedication and evolution in the music industry. In 2008, Amerie announced she had signed a label production deal through the Island Def Jam Music Group, which allowed her to release her music under her own label, Phoenix Rising. Later that year, Columbia Records released the compilation album Playlist, The Very Best of Amerie. In 2009, the label released a second compilation album, Best 15 Things, in Japan only. Amerie described her 4th album, In Love and War, as a fusion of hip-hop, soul, and rock with elements of music of the 1970s and a direct extension of my first album, All I Have. The album's lead single, Why Are You, reached number 55 on the Billboard Hot R&B/Hip-Hop Songs chart in the U.S. Heard 'Em All, which featured rapper Lil Wayne, peaked at number 81 on the same chart. It did, however, enter the top 10 on the Korean pop charts. With little radio support, the 3rd single, Pretty Brown, featuring Trey Songz, was released only 2 weeks before the album, and hindered by distribution problems, In Love and War peaked at number 46 on the Billboard 200 and at number 3 on the top R&B/hip-hop albums. In 2010, Amerie announced that she had changed the spelling of her stage name to Amerie, explaining, I operate on vibes and intuition, and I believe everything is energy. The vibration of the double I is right for me. Slightly different spelling, completely same pronunciation. Later that year, she premiered a new song titled Outside Your Body. In 2011, it was reported that Amerie was in the studio working on her 5th studio album titled Cymatica Vol. 1. The album's title is based on the word cymatics, the study of visible sound and vibration. The production lineup consisted of Riley Urich, the Buchanans, and Andre Harris of Dre and Vidal, among others. Amerie said that she may reunite with Rich Harrison for the project, but that it would be a matter of when and in what way. Cymatica Vol. 1 was also to include special guest appearances from Drunken Tiger's Tiger J.K. and Tasha Reid. According to Amerie, Cymatica would explore freedom, androgyny, and the New World Order, and was influenced by trance music, electronica, house music, and new wave music. The 2nd and 3rd volumes of Cymatica were planned. In 2012, Amerie announced a forthcoming mini LP titled The Prelude. In 2013, she stated that she had been working on a new project, Because I Love It Vol. 2, a follow-up to her 2007 album. She said this album, Beely, stemmed from songs that did not fit sonically or thematically onto Cymatica. Songs that are heavy in percussion, but have a very aggressive, soulful element to them. They don't exist in any one time or sound of the moment. Beely and Cymatica were both slated for release in 2015. A single, What I Want, which samples Apache by Incredible Bongo Band, was released from Beely in 2014. Later in 2014, she premiered the track Mustang and announced a UK tour for 2015. In 2015, Amerie collaborated with producer Rich Harrison on a new single, Out Loud. In 2016, Amerie appeared on the radio show The Breakfast Club, 105.1, and announced an EP titled Drive, a second untitled EP due later in the year, and that she was still at work on her album Cymatica, which was to be part of a trilogy. Drive was initially released on the streaming service SoundCloud. In 2017, Amerie released the single Red Rum, which was set to be featured on an upcoming album titled MA3. In 2018, Amerie simultaneously released 2 albums, 4 a.m. Mulholland and After 4 a.m. This was her first full-length album since 2009 and her second independent release, following Drive. In 2019, she performed alongside Nelly and Craig David at R&B Vine Days, a one-day music festival in Australia. Since the start of her career, Amerie has been heavily involved in the creative process of her music, receiving not only writing credits but production and instrumentation credits as well. Amerie is a soprano. In an interview with My Play, she described her early process of recording music. I used to record songs that I wrote by using 2 different tape recorders and 2 separate tapes. I would start by recording myself on the first tape, singing the song down from top to finish. Then, I would play it back, while singing the harmonies and recording them on the second tape. I'd just keep repeating the process, going back and forth between tapes until I had a final version of the full song on one tape, with stacked harmonies, backgrounds, and everything. So, if Amerie's career was so successful, why did she stop making music, and what has Beyoncé got to do with it? Well, this is where things get shady. Amerie struggled with getting her music out there. When she was working on her second album in 2004, she sought the help of producer Rich Harrison, who's known for working with both J.Lo and Beyoncé. He's previously helped Amerie in her first album, All I Have. The producer and his team finished the lead single for the second album, One Thing, in only 2 to 3 hours. Everyone felt good about the track that it was immediately sent to Amerie's label, Columbia. The record company didn't like it. They wanted bigger choruses. Amerie and Harrison quickly got back to work, trying to improve the song as asked. The label kept rejecting every version they turned in. The singer said that people just weren't getting it. At last, after 6 months of recording the final output, they decided to leak it to radio stations instead. But apparently Columbia was trying to key off the single since J.Lo was about to record her own album, Rebirth. With radio stations refusing to pull out One Thing from their playlists, Amerie got the official release she deserved. The Let's Get Loud hitmaker ended up doing Get Right, another song produced by Harrison. Fans thought it was all suspicious. Some internet detectives began to trace the origins of Beyoncé's 2003 hit Crazy in love to Amerie's One Thing and Why Don't We Fall in Love. In an interview with MTV in 2004, the former Destiny's Child member said that what made Crazy in Love a hit was the horn hook. She explained that it has this go-go feel to it, this old school feel. I wasn't sure if people were going to get it. But wait a minute, didn't Amerie talk about people not getting her sound, which coincidentally had that same go-go feel? It's a real head-scratcher. Anyway, the Beyhive rushed to defend their queen, arguing that Crazy in Love dropped before One Thing. But let's rewind a bit. Rich Harrison, Amerie's original producer, had Crazy in Love before he jumped ship to work with Beyoncé. So, who had it first? Well, just because a song hit the airwaves first doesn't mean it was conceived first. Amerie's sound might have allegedly been swiped long before Beyoncé dropped Crazy in Love. It's like a complicated game of musical chairs with careers on the line. Beyoncé's daddy, Matthew Knowles, was apparently pulling the strings. Rich spilled the beans, saying, "Yeah, I had it in the chamber. I hadn't really shopped it much because sometimes you don't want to come out of the bag before it's right. People don't really get it, and you'll leave them with a foul taste in their mouth. So it was just something that I held on to until I got the call from B." Translation: they were strategically holding back to make sure everything was just right. For those insisting Beyoncé chose the go-go sound before Amerie, our girl Amerie had been pushing for her go-go sound recognition way before Beyoncé's name entered the picture. She even talked about the struggle, saying, "You don't hear go-go outside of DC." Amerie and Rich created their own music genre, influenced by DC's go-go scene. Rumor has it that Amerie and Rich birthed this unique sound, and Beyoncé's crew caught wind of it, allegedly incorporating that style and casting a shadow over Amerie's career. Perhaps that's why Amerie decided to take a step back and choose a quieter life. Meanwhile, Beyoncé's first solo gig, Work It Out, had a completely different vibe and didn't perform well. I'm not laying the blame solely on Queen Bey. If anything, Rich was the mastermind handing over Amerie's potential hits to whoever had more influence. Beyoncé just struck gold, and Rich wanted to work with a superstar. But Amerie's record label also played a role in her downfall. In fact, Amerie spilled the tea on this, and it's hotter than ever. The songstress didn't hold back as she dished on her tumultuous relationship with Columbia Records, revealing that they barely lifted a finger to boost her brand. Why, you ask? Well, it seems they were more interested in cozying up to artists who were already riding high on the fame train. But it gets shadier. When Amerie was pushing for the release of her hit single One Thing, whispers circulated that Columbia had a sinister agenda. Rumor had it they were attempting to sabotage the single because the infamous J.Lo was gearing up to record her own album, Rebirth. And if that wasn't enough drama, there were murmurs that Columbia wanted J.Lo to snag the song for herself, leaving Amerie in the dust. So what did our girl Amerie do in the face of this alleged betrayal? She took matters into her own hands, leaking One Thing to radio stations like a boss. Because let's be real, who wouldn't want to claim ownership of such a banger? Now let's talk about the undeniable similarities between Amerie's DC-influenced sound and J.Lo's Get Right. Coincidence? Amerie doesn't seem to think so. It's almost like J-Lo couldn't resist dipping into Amerie's unique musical pot, resulting in a track that bears an uncanny resemblance to One Thing. And then there's the messy saga of Amerie's third album, Because I Love It. While Amerie was ready to conquer the music scene, Columbia Records was tangled up in some internal mess, causing a significant delay in the album's release. The project saw the light of day overseas in 2007, but digital copies were the only crumbs thrown to Amerie's US fans. And let's not forget, digital copies weren't exactly a thing back then, leaving Because I Love It completely absent from the Billboard charts in 2007. Amerie wasn't shy about pointing fingers at her label, claiming they failed to give Because I Love It the royal treatment it deserved. It's almost as if they were playing a wicked game of musical neglect, leaving Amerie's album stranded in obscurity while they focused on more established artists. Adding fuel to the fire, Amerie spilled the tea on her battles with the powers that be at Columbia Records. She stood her ground against the men who wanted to mold her into something she wasn't, fighting tooth and nail for her artistic vision. It's the classic tale of an artist with a unique voice struggling against the suits who thought they knew better. But the saga doesn't end there. Every few months, the debate resurfaces about whether Beyoncé swiped Amerie's sound. In fact, one fan commented, "I still listen to Amerie's music today. I'll love her voice, her style, everything about her is a vibe. Yes, I believe Beyoncé and J-Lo stole her sound, dance moves, and style, but true fans know Amerie brought go-go to the mainstream, and nobody has done it better than her." A second fan added, "She was great, and I'm glad she became an author. Education is one thing J-Lo and Beyoncé can't steal from her." And a third fan wrote, "A story behind One Thing is that J-Lo heard it and wanted the song, and the top executives were going to give it to her. When Amerie and her producer heard that, they rushed to give it to radio stations to play. J-Lo was allegedly mad, and she went and did Get Right, which sounds a lot like Usher's Ride. I'm glad Amerie did that. J-Lo would have kept her vocals and all." The accusations linger like a ghost from the past, with persistent claims that Queen Bey filched Amerie's musical mojo. And as Amerie's journey away from the music industry unfolds, one can't help but wonder if the shadowy dealings at Columbia Records played a role in her roller coaster career. Whether it's the alleged plot against One Thing or the questionable handling of Because I Love It, Amerie's story is a cautionary tale about the cutthroat world of the music business. Anyway, that's it for this video.
Man, that's crazy. So I want to say Amerie still is very top tier artist in the game. At a pivotal moment in her life, she was amazing. Amazing, man. She had the go-go sound, One Thing. That song used to be rocking back in the club days. I ain't gonna hold you. But, when it comes down to the industry and this music thing, man, it's all about that dollar. And the labels, the record labels and the higher ups, they look at more than just talent and the gift of a person, of the artist. They look at ethnic background, the regions, the fan base, your catalog, but at the same token, it's more than just your talent when it come down to these record labels. They're looking at marketing and who supports you and who you with in relationships and who gonna be a better. They look at so many different things besides just the talent alone. And I think this was happening. That what happened to Amerie. Like, she had the looks. She definitely had the talent and the looks. She just was up against some people that was dealing with the higher ups, I believe. And the ones that she was, not going against, but her competition, probably sat in some rooms that she'd never been in. And that's how they was able to obtain some of the same sounds and deal with the same producer that produced for Amerie and came out on top. Because sometimes it ain't what you know, all about who you know.